Now, I'm joined now by New York City Councilman Joe Borelli to talk about all the crazy happenings in New York City. Joe, welcome back to the program. First of all, for the first time in history, I believe, a New York City mayor, Eric Adams, he's been indicted on a whole slew of campaign finance and corruption charges. Tell us a little bit more about them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time in our city's almost 400-year history where a sitting mayor was indicted on criminal charges. You know, if you've seen the movie The Gangs of New York, the Boss Tweed, Tammany Hall days, none of those mayors ever actually managed to get indicted, but Eric Adams sure did. And it is related to some of the work that he's supposed to be doing on the public's behalf as mayor.
And tell us, there's a whole weird Turkish angle about this. He got all these sort of business class flights from Turkish Airways, and there were other sorts of things all tied back to Turkey, which seems like a sort of a strange and esoteric source of corruption in New York City. What was that all about? What did the Turks actually want from the mayor, allegedly?
Well, this is where it gets kind of confusing. So the allegation says that the mayor took free upgrades to business class when he purchased economy tickets. He got hotel rooms upgraded to the luxury suites when he might have only paid for, the economy size rooms. And that had been going on for a period of about 5 years when he was the borough president of Brooklyn. So it's not just when he was the mayor, it actually dates back far earlier than that. And in exchange, which is kind of the incredible part, the Turks seem to have wanted all this time, just one instance where he was asked to expedite the fire department's re-inspection of a building that was to be used as the Turkish consulate. And this is why I have some questions. You know, the mayor of a city pretty frequently is asked to intervene in instances like this, where there's some, bureaucratic agency delaying some project, some completion. And in this case, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, was coming to unveil the consulate, and it was in the mayor's interest to actually have that event take place.
Yeah, it's all very strange to me because, so much of this stuff seems like, okay, if it's proven, a lot of it seems, still kind of petty. And I'm wondering, what do you think is behind the decision to really pursue this investigation against Adam? Now, because there's this theory that Eric Adams put a target on his back when he criticized the Biden-Harris administration for burdening New York with illegal aliens, like when he said this here.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian-speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border.
What do you think there, Joe Borelli? Do you buy this theory that it's because he took a stance against the Biden administration that they've gone after him? Or do you just think that this is something else?
I'll say this with one caveat. There are more charges potentially dropping on Eric Adams, and he might be guilty of everything he's accused of. But as you pointed out, there was a coincidental scope of timing when Eric Adams, for about a year, was touting the party line, saying, "Welcome all migrants. We're a sanctuary city. Come here. We'll give you everything for free, and we'll make everything all right." Nobody seemed to have a problem with him. And actually, on the very day that he was going to the White House to meet with Joe Biden, with some other mayors, to demand an end to the crisis, that was the day the federal agents raided his campaign treasurer's house. So it is sort of suspect, this timing. Again, he could be completely guilty of it, but we already know we've seen partisan prosecutions by the Department of Justice. We know that there's even the spokesman for this particular U.S. Attorney's Office. He was caught on a recorded camera actually talking about how partisan and vitriolic some of the prosecutors are. In our country, these are supposed to be nonpartisan actors, with justice only on their mind. But it does seem like they tend to tip the scale against the enemies of the current president.
And do you think it's odd then that, authorities have been able to go so hard on what, again, many of these charges, not all of them, but many of them, appear to be kind of more perks and freebies than naked cash in the mattress kind of corruption when it comes to Eric Adams, whereas Hunter Biden and the Biden family was pinged on what were pretty relatively minor charges compared to everything that's been floating out there around the Biden family.
Right. And recall that Hunter Biden was going to plea to an almost nothing crime, completely exonerate himself, get a tiny slap on the wrist before a judge, a very astute judge, actually stopped and said, wait a minute, what are we doing with this plea deal? This seems completely absurd for the Justice Department to even be offering. This is a guy who's been treated with kid gloves. The entire Biden family has been treated with kid gloves. What is the business of the Biden family but not for trading their relationships with the big guy for cash payments from foreign countries or anything else? And again, the theory of this case with Eric Adams is that he was getting all these perks and freebies 5 years before he was becoming the mayor, just in the hope, in the speculation that maybe one day they would have to call in a favor at the fire department to come get an inspector to come and sign off on the project. By the way, they're not saying that some real problem with the building was looked the other way at. They just wanted to get a re-inspection so they can get a certificate of occupancy, what we call it, so they can open up on time. A pretty routine thing.
That's just
most
wild.
mayors and council members do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and look, we have dwelling certificates, occupancy certificates here too, so people will understand exactly what you're talking about. So what happens next then with Eric Adams? Can he stay in the office of mayor while he's under this sort of cloud? And if he goes, what comes next? Will you put your hat in the ring potentially for the office?
Well, I will. So it would trigger a nonpartisan ranked choice election, which would be the first in the city's history based on some new rules that we passed. But I'm not hoping for it because at the end of the day, if Eric Adams somehow went down, more than likely it would end up worse for New York City with progressives most likely taking over. It's not a great thing. And to be honest, based on just the accusations of the Justice Department, I'm not sure that should usurp the will of the people. I didn't vote for Eric Adams. I endorsed his opponent. But the majority of New Yorkers voted for this particular guy. And just the mere accusation that he's done some wrongdoing, which is not really smoking gun, jaw-dropping stuff, I don't think he should resign just over this.
Fair enough, Joe Borelli. But hey, will of the people, who needs that? It's only America we're talking about. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best to everybody in New York City.